Hello, my name is Rick Bubble. I sometimes go by the name of Simon, and this is a thoughts video. A thoughts video on high society. Now, this is an auction game by Reiner Knizia. This is an old game. It actually came out in 1995, but I recently got a chance to play the new reprint of it by Osprey Games. And Reiner Knizia has been well known for auction games. He's done a lot of them in the past. In fact, if I look over here, he's done, Medici, the card game. He's also done Medici. He's done which is another auction game, and then he's also done modern art and a few others. The point is, he's done a lot of auction style games, and you might be wondering, which is the best one? And it's difficult to say. You see, for one thing, high society fills the role quite nicely of a very good filler. It plays in 30 minutes, the rules are very simple, and yet it basically cleanses your mouth. It's like a sorbet between two largish meals. So, for example, if you're having a games night, between one heavy game and one medium game, this is a nice fit in between. This is decide on what you're going to be playing next. And the game is simple. You essentially have a hand of cards which are labeled between 1 to 25, and this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it goes to 8, 10, 12, 15, 25. So there's a bit of staggering in terms of the numbers, but you have a set of cards, and everyone else has the same set of cards. You're essentially going to be using those cards to then bid on different pieces of high society. Basically, you're trying to be as famous in this high society as possible by spending as much money as possible, but not spending all your money so that you don't end up being the poorest person. What good is wealth if you don't have any to spend, essentially? What is nice is you're all buying different types of goods. You'll be maybe buying haute couture or high fashion. You might be buying some priceless tickets to a holiday destination, or you might just be doing fine dining in a restaurant or going to the theater. Again, you're going to be bidding on getting these cards, and each of these cards is going to be worth a different amount of points from 1 to 10. There will be occasionally give you other cards which are either going to be score multipliers, so you can double your score or double the points that you have, or there's going to be negative cards which can either give you minus points, like minus 5 points, or they can give you, say, divide your score in half. What is very interesting is the bidding system itself. You see, essentially, on your turn, you will play cards from your hand. You can play as many as you want, but you always have to make sure that you are higher than the previous bid before you. If you aren't, then you have to pass, in which case you get to take back all your cards you didn't use, or didn't win the bet with, and you'll keep going until essentially 4 green cards come out. What this means is an incredible length of pacing that happens in the game. You see, in one game, you might play through the whole deck of all 15 cards, buying up stuff, trying to make sure that you don't spend all your money, because, again, if you spend all your money, you can't even score any points. Well, at the same time, if a game ends up being shorter, you might end up maybe worrying about how many points you have. You see, when 2 green cards come out, you're fine. Once the 3rd green card comes out, you start to panic a bit, because all it takes is one more flip of a card to end the game. The game will end once all 4 green cards have been revealed. So you're constantly wondering when those cards are going to be coming out. There's also a wonderful thing where the price of things is so wild, yet thematically rich. This is high society. You're just casually spending your money and throwing your money at anything. But by doing this kind of staggered approach to when the game ends, it creates this wonderful amount of tension, because you can't value anything. Someone might spend 5 to buy a card worth 2 points, and then the next turn someone might spend $17 just to buy a card that's worth 3 points. It's incredibly rich and wonderful to laugh at as your friends panic and spend all of their money just simply trying to get that 1 point ahead of the next person. And again, there can be some clever play, especially comes into the case when you have those penalty cards. Some penalty cards will, again, give you minus points. But the thing is, when you're bidding on it, you're bidding not to take it. So what might happen is someone will pass and they will get given the penalty card, but they have just made everyone else spend $25 basically trying to avoid that card. And again, it's great. It's a wonderful level of strategy to a game that is just a filler. I will say now that it does a good job of being the filler. It doesn't take too long, and I've basically explained all the rules to you, which means it's simple, and yet there is a wonderful engagement of working out, should I go for this or should I not? You know, the trouble with things like, well, modern art, and believe me, modern art is brilliant, but it doesn't sit nicely in that bracket of being a filler. It can sometimes take a bit too long, and people, if they don't get the strategy immediately, can sometimes ruin the game. You know, I've seen people just throw away rounds in modern art simply because they didn't really understand what the pricing structure was. But in this case, as soon as you play and start bidding on the first card, you almost immediately set a price point for the rest of the game. And of course, that can change over time as, again, the green cards will come out and then radically adjust the scores. I think this is brilliant. In comparison, again, to another Reiner Knizia game, this is, again, a bit too long and not really as engaging. I find this to kind of be more of a solo play experience, whereas with High Society, you are deeply concerned about what everyone else has, and if you can remember what people have spent, you're going to have a better time doing so. But again, you're at the whims of what cards are going to be coming out. Someone might spend 25 on a 9, and then in the very next turn, an 8 pops up. Or someone could spend 25 on a 9, and all of a sudden a 6 or a 4 pops up. And you're not going to know if that's going to be the difference between winning a game or losing a game. Likewise, you're constantly working out if you have enough money left over to even spend on anything. Yeah, sure, you might have the $25 left over at the end, but someone has $26, which means you are the person that has no money. And again, that's brilliant. I think High Society is a great game. I think for the price point, I think you can pick this up for about $10, which is staggeringly good. And the new print, or the new design by Osprey, this in terms of the artwork, is pretty nice. It's not crazy by any stretch of the imagination, but it does provoke an idea of High Society. They've gone for this kind of 1930s style, and it works quite nicely. It's also a wonderful thing where someone just bids so much money on what essentially is just a dining experience. It's funny. So yeah, I would 100% get High Society. If you need another filler in your life, definitely get it. It's one of Reiner Knizia's better auction games, and there's nothing more else to say. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. I hope you have enjoyed this thoughts video. If you have enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like and subscribe button. If you thought I rambled a bit too long, maybe said a couple of things I wasn't supposed to say, maybe you think this isn't one of Reiner Knizia's best games, then remember, you can always leave a comment below. I love to hear from people, or hit the dislike button. It's there for a reason. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.